Hello, everybody. Welcome to Church at Home with Rachel for Tuesday, the 18th of April. Lately, because of weddings and funerals and tons of Easter services, I have been doing a lot of working on my computer, creating documents and printing them, printing. And so that left me a lot of time to have my other laptop open to YouTube. And I've been watching a lot of Brene Brown. If you have not checked out Brene Brown, you really need to. This woman is absolutely fantastic. She is a researcher, social worker who is also a storyteller, and she does an incredible amount of work on shame. And then the flip side of that is vulnerability. And she's like a breath of fresh air. She's been around for quite a few years. Has like I think the second or third highest TED Talk for views, and she's just absolutely phenomenal. And then that one that she did that went so viral was like her very first big thing, I think. She is genuinely a good person. She is down to earth, and she swears a little bit, and she has two kids, and she has a husband, and she lives her life, and she just does her best. And she talks a lot about coming to that place where we recognize in our own lives that we have to deal with critics. We have to deal with criticism. We have to recognize that, and coming up with this, dealing with those two thoughts in our heads. That the first one is, I'm not worthy, and who do you think you are? I don't know about you, but I struggle with those all the time. Someone does something nice for me, and it's like, well, why? Why would you do something nice for me? I'm just me. Whatever it is I did that you're, saying was great, and here, thank you for that. Like no, that's just what I do. It's who I am, and no, you really shouldn't be. You should just, it's okay. I'm not worthy of your whatever X, Y, or Z. The other thing is, who do you think you are? And I don't know about you, but I've run across that my whole life. That sense of who do you think you are, whether it's family or friends or teachers or coworkers or your boss, somebody who, whether they're actually saying it or not, I interpret it as, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are to have your own YouTube channel? Who do you think you are to get up in a pulpit on a Sunday morning and tell us how to live our lives? Who do you think you are? Well, okay, my YouTube channel, I've got a few subscribers and a few people who watch every day and seem to have, go back and forth with me and teach me, and I teach them. And that's great. So who do I think I am? I am an entry level YouTube person who loves to just share some thoughts and throw them out there. That's who I think I am. I am a priest called by God, ordained in the church almost 24 years ago. And a big part of what I'm called to do as a priest is to preach. So, yeah, who do you think you are? A priest and a preacher. But knowing those two things and being able to actually deal with them are two completely different things. And so, um, really thinking about what Brene Brown has been saying lately, over the weekend, over the last couple of days, sort of giving that a lot of thought and thinking, like, who is it that I think I am, and how do I deal with the critics? How do you deal with critics? And it really, like, something she said, and she took it from, I think it was um, Teddy Roosevelt, a speech he gave, the arena speech. I think that was who it was. And she said it's her philosophy of criticism. She said, if you are not in the arena also getting your ass kicked, I am not interested in getting your feedback. So she's talking about when you decide you're going to do something, when you decide who you are is this person who's going to try something, you are going to go after your promotion. You are going to stand up at a staff meeting and say, here's my thoughts. I've been watching how we do this thing, and I think this is how we could do it better. This is how I envision we could do this better. This is how I'm going to be a parent. This is, so you get up there, and she recognizes that when you get up and you go into the arena of life, you do your thing, you put on that armor, whatever it is that, whether if you're a journalist, you pick up your pen. If you're a parent, you pick up if you're a baker, you pick up your spatula. If you're a parent, you pick up the diapers and the car keys or whatever it is you do as a parent. And you head into the arena of your life to do what you feel called to do. And when you're in there, when you look in the seats, there's going to be critics. And she talks about the fact that you can't sell the tickets ahead of time to only people who are going to support you, because it doesn't matter. There will be somebody in those stadium who's going to look at you and say, who do you think you are? Why do you think that you're worthy? They're just going to be there. So the key is filling those seats also with people who support you, but also filling a few of those seats with yourself and remembering what it is you've done to get there. How is it that you feel confident enough to enter the arena in the first place? Because let's face it, we're heading into the Stanley Cup finals, or to the Stanley Cup playoffs for hockey, if you're a hockey fan. And for every one of those players, this is a new level of anxiety. Yeah, they might be the world's best. They may be the defending Stanley Cup champions. But when they step onto the ice for that very first game of the very first round of the playoffs, doesn't matter that they won the cup last year. What matters is what they do in that game right then. And they have a choice to make. They can put on their uniform, they can put on their equipment, strap up, to lace up their skates, grab their sticks, and head for the door and stand at the gate ready to go on the ice. And when their name is called, they can choose to go on the ice and give it all they've got to give. Or they can say, I can't do it. I can't go into this arena. I'm going to back off. Somebody else can take my spot. Well, we know that it's not going to happen. But the fact is, it's a choice. Nobody's holding a gun to their heads and forcing them to step on the ice. They're trained and they know that they can do this. And they all have butterflies in their stomach. And that question of who do I think I am? Probably 99% of the players stepping on the ice in the next couple of weeks are going to be saying to themselves, can I really do this? Can my team win the cup? Are we good enough? Because if they don't ask those questions, then they aren't going to try. They need to ask those questions so that they can say to themselves, not someone else, themselves, I'm going to prove that I'm good enough. I'm going to prove that we can do this, that we can go out there as a team, we can win this game. The thing is, when we step into an arena, we take with us those things we need to do what it is we're going to do in the arena. So like I said, whatever it might be, if a hockey player, their hockey equipment. But we go into the arena and we have to face off against people or ourselves who are doing the same thing. We might be, it might be a solitary thing. You're a singer, or you're a writer and you're giving a reading of your book. Whatever it is that you're doing in your arena, you have to go out there and you have to do your very best. You sort of pitch yourself against yourself. You don't want to give a second-rate performance. You want to do your very best. But you have to realize that if there's anybody out there with you, they have to be given their best as well. And we recognize you do that mind shift, that thing where you recognize that those voices that say to you, you're not worthy, or who do you think you are? Those voices in our heads that say you should be ashamed of yourself. You're not important enough to do this. We all know what I'm talking about. We all have them. Wayne Gretzky would have them. Sidney Crosby would have them. Alexander Ovechkin, they all have them. Connor McDavid will have his days when he's like, yeah, I don't know. Can I do this? And those voices start to go and he'd have to say, you know what? No, I can do this. Hence we have sports psychologists because they help with that. Anyway, the idea is that we know there are those critics, and whether those critics are actual people or journalists or other people out in the real world who hurl those things back at us on a regular basis, the haters on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, all those things, those people who throw up those things, those sound bites of hate. And they get to sit back, throw their pot shot, sit back and say, hey, there you go, deal with it. Well, we can deal with it. Or we can step aside from it, let it smack down on the ground and walk away from it. Because the fact is, haters are going to hate. Critics are going to be critical. And the question becomes, which critics do we deal with? Now, sometimes criticism is important. Sometimes criticism can help us grow. And I would suggest that those critics, though, that actually have something to say, they need to be in the arena with us. Brene Brown said, if you're not in the arena also getting your ass kicked, I am not interested in getting your feedback. If you're going to give feedback, if you're going to be that critic who's going to say, this is why you're not worthy, this is why you can't do something, this is why blah, 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 you can't be up there in the bleachers sitting there hurling out those criticisms into the arena. Because what's going to happen if we are learning and growing ourselves, we're not going to pick up those criticisms. We're going to treat those like teddy bears or hats. They're thrown on the ice for a hat trick. We're going to let the other people whose job it is to clean up the crap, we're going to let them come out with their shovels and their brooms and sweep those criticisms away, and we're not even looking at them because we're going to deal with what's in front of us. And what's in front of us in the arena is the job that we're called to do. Now, if, for instance, that critic is in there in the arena with you, doing their job, and their job is to challenge you, to ask you questions, to make you think twice, then they're right there with you on the ice or in the arena, and they're face to face with you. They're not lobbing, they're not lobbing softballs at you or throwing things at you that you can't possibly deal with. They're right there, and you have an opportunity to do back and forth. And the thing is that if they're there and they're doing the job with you, in front of you, around you, they're in the arena with you, then they are as susceptible to criticism as you are, and you can give it right back. You could ask them the same questions. The difference is that the critics who are in the arena with you aren't going to say, who do you think you are? You're not worthy. They're going to say to you, okay, how did that work? That flopped. You missed that goal. What happened? You fanned on the puck. What do you got to do next time? The critics who are in the arena with us, the ones that we will receive feedback from, the ones we should receive feedback from, are the people who are in there ready to get their asses kicked like we are, because they're willing to put their money where their mouth is. They're doing the job with us. We don't need to listen to people who are simply trying to get under our skin, who are, people who are armchair quarterbacks or, Monday morning quarterbacks sitting in the armchair saying, well, this is the way it should have been done. Okay, yeah, good for you. Where were you when it was getting done? We need to figure out in our own lives whose voices are important for us to pay attention to. The voice that says to me, who do you think you are, with dripping sarcasm, is not a voice I need to listen to. A voice that says to me, who do you think you are, with expectation, that's a voice I can listen to, because that's a person. That's a critic who's going to say, who do you think you are? And I can say, I am a priest. I am a beginning YouTuber trying to figure out how I might have positively impact the world. I am a stepmother. I am a wife. I am a best friend. I am a dog mom. I am all these things, and I know that I am not perfect, but I'm in the arena trying to figure out how to do it, and I'm having the time of my life. And then we can turn to them and say, who do you think you are? And allow them to define what they're doing in their arena and how we might work with them. Criticism is not a bad thing. I spent whole semesters in university on criticism, literary criticism and biblical criticism and things like that. Criticism helps us to open our minds. It helps us to think more broadly. Sometimes it helps us to think more specifically. It helps us to ask questions that make us better than we were. It gives us more information. Then there are people who are critical, and that's different. And they just try to pull us down and break us. Well, I've got news for you. Whether or not you believe in God, you are a child of God. As far as I'm concerned, you are a child of God. God didn't make junk. And so there is no one who has the right to say to you, who do you think you are? You're not worthy. Because, my friend, God made you worthy, just as you are. Once you realize that you're worthy, and once you realize the answer to that question, who do you think you are, is a child of God, once you get there and you believe it in your heart, those other questions from people who are just trying to hate will still hurt. They'll still pick at you and bruise your ego, but they won't slay you, because you'll have the strength to turn around and say, I don't need you. If you're not in the arena also getting your ass kicked by this life of ours, I'm not interested in getting your feedback. And then walk away. It's really simple. It's hard, but it's simple. I really do commend you to watch some Brene Brown videos and to read her books. She's got a lot to say, and she's a very down-to-earth person as she says it. And I know this video has been really long. But remember, when somebody says to you, you're not worthy, just say, yes, I am, and walk away. Or if they say to you, who do you think you are? Tell them who you are. Because you are a powerful, wonderful, beautiful child of God with so much to share with the world that you don't even have time to deal with the critics. Not those kind. Have a great day in your arena, whatever that arena might look like. God bless, and I'll see you again tomorrow for Church at Home with Rachel.